Alright, so let's work on that projectile prefab now. So I think I'm going to turn it into like a meteor or something. It's going to have like a particle system as it goes to the main center. So for that I just grabbed some fire texture. Again, just textures.com, one in FX, fire. You'll find a whole bunch in there. Just make sure it has like a black background like that so that it can turn into a particle system. So once you have one of those in there, you just want to go to the inspector and change that to sprite, 2D and UI, then hit apply. So now it can be used as a particle material. So let's create that as well. We'll go back into our materials folder, new material, and we'll call this fire. Okay, so we want to change the shader to particles, and we'll just do additive. So for the texture, we're going to want to grab that fire texture. For the color, just going to make sure that's white. And that should do it for that. So now we need a particle system. So let's get a effects particle system. And we'll just work on that. So right off the bat, it's going to use kind of a default particle. So we want our new material. It's our fire material. Make sure you grab the material, not the texture. And just put that on. Alright, so now it changes to fire particles. So we're going to have this moving, right? So you want kind of like a trail. So let's switch that over here. So we're going to get rid of the shape, and we're going to change emission to rate over distance. So we'll set that to 1 and get rid of the rate over time. So that as it's going along, it's how many it's going to shoot out. And then we want to change the simulation space to world. That just means that it's going to be moving in the scene. It's not going to be stationary. Yeah, what else can we change here? Can add some noise. That'll just kind of distort the way the particles move a bit. Okay, so let's try that. So just press play. And I'm just going to grab it around, see how it moves. Yeah, okay, I'd kind of like that to be a bit bigger. Maybe change the start size to, say, 2. Yeah, and it shouldn't last as long either. We want it to kind of vanish after it's gone out from the tip. So we'll change the lifetime to 1. That's a bit better. It's probably going to be moving fairly slow. Let's try changing this emission rate. Yeah, that's a bit better. And let's just make it so that they get smaller as time goes on, so it'll make more of a trail. So for that, we're just going to go into size over lifetime, a ticket, and we're going to change the graph. So just click in the box, then we'll set that to a downward slope, so the size will get smaller. Whoops, I was in play, so it's going to revert all that. So size over lifetime, and change the angle. There we go, it's not too bad. So let's rename this one to, let's call it an asteroid. Maybe a meteor. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to want a sphere collider. We're basically going to be copying this projectile object. Whoops, that's the material. So we have our projectile object, so we need a sphere collider, and we need a rigid body. And I think we're going to create a like a little rock to go at the beginning of this trail. So back into materials. Yeah. So let's add on that component. So we'll add a sphere collider. And we'll set is trigger to true. Actually, no. Because this is it's a projectile, so it's going to be hitting the triggers. So we got that, and we want our rigid body. Okay, let's not use gravity, and freeze position on the Z. Should about do it. So let's add our rock. Just going to do a sphere for this one. So put it as a child and just zero it out. Okay. Let's just add one of our materials here. So it looks more like a rock. So we'll go down to the resources folder, and you can make a separate material for this, or you can just grab one of these. Actually, I think I am going to make a separate material. Let's do that. Let's call it Meteor. Put it on there. I'm going to grab... I'm going to grab that rock texture. I'll put its normal map on. Probably don't need the ambient occlusion. Let's make this one a bit more dark, maybe. Something like that. Okay, so now when we move it, whoops, I think I put that material on the wrong thing. So we want our fire material, which is our particle material on the meteor, and we want the meteor on the sphere, the meteor material. What is that doing? Okay. So let's switch out our projectile. It should work once it's in the game. So we're going to change that here. I am going to disable one other thing. Just want to switch the rigid body to kinematic. Okay. So it should be using this as the projectile if we just replace it here. Okay, now we'll press play and give it a shot. There we go. Might increase the rate a bit. whoops. Okay, so I want this to be in the prefabs folder. And we can just delete that old test projectile. We don't need that anymore. And this is a material, so we're gonna, oh, it's already in the materials folder. And yeah, so that's all organized. And I just wanted to bump up the particle system a bit. So that's in the prefab. We'll go here and let's just change that to something like 5 maybe. Or yeah, 5. And I might bump the size up a bit. Let's do 2.5. There we go. Again, you can change the particle system, different colors or sizes, whatever. But that's kind of the gist of it. And I think we'll leave it off there.